Hello, this is F. Welcome to episode 29 of my Ottoman Empire campaign. Last episode, the Central Army linked with the Northern Army to begin the siege of Warsaw, while Vienna held firm against a fresh Bavarian assault. Today we strike on multiple fronts. A task force launches an assault on the Russian force along the Don River. The Western Army executes a lightning attack on Munich, ending the Kingdom of Bavaria, and a full assault on Warsaw begins in earnest. Momentum is on the line. Can our coordinated offensives break the enemy's will and turn this campaign into a decisive victory for the Sultan? Let's get into it. So we are back, and I think this episode we will be looking to take Warsaw from the Polish Commonwealth. But I think for now what we'll look to do is to jump in and move against the Russian force on the Don River. And if we can take them out promptly, it should leave this area free of Russian forces for the time being. And just looking at their comparison of armies, so the Russians have two-line infantry, Cossack infantry, Celtsi cavalry and a cannon. And on our side we have 4 units of Israelis, we have a cannon unit and 2 of the Delhi horsemen, so they'll prove very useful, especially with us fording the river in this engagement. So we have divided our army into 2. The Delhi horsemen will be crossing or fording the river to the north of the Russian force, and we'll be sending our irregular line infantry across the bridge just to put pressure on those Russian forces. And again, hopefully the Russians do not cause us too much damage in terms of attacking with their cannons. But we will also be suppressing or sending cannon volleys ourselves just to suppress movements of the Russian forces. They do have a cavalry unit on their side, so we need to just be mindful of that with our 2 Delhi horsemen. But again, as you can see, their cannons have been deployed with bags, so they will be stuck facing a certain direction. So as long as we can get past them, they shouldn't be much of a threat. And we can also see that the Russians have laid down some spikes. So again, just keep being mindful of that when we send our Delhi horsemen in to engage them. But for now, we're just maneuvering our forces into position, and soon we'll be able to launch a direct assault on the Russian line. And again, keeping the Russians, if we can take out this military force, then there shouldn't be much threat to the territories that we currently hold, that we captured from the Russians north of the Caucasus. And likewise, it will divert the Russians perhaps either to Ukraine or to Kiev, or potentially to the Swedish border. So yeah, we just need to push them back just so they don't decide to attack us at a later date when we are definitely not prepared for them to. So we're going to do this small task force, get them in, and get the Russians out of this theatre as promptly as we can. I must say I am surprised at the lack of Russian aggression against our more outlying regions, especially those north of the Caucasus. There's just been no Russian troop movement whatsoever, even since the capture of Ukraine. And granted, they're probably suffering from a lack of financial capability, but yeah, there's been very little in terms of a overt attack on the Russians for quite a few years in game now. But alas, that is to our advantage. It's allowed us to focus more so on the European theatre and to make those gains both in the Balkans and in Central Europe. Israelis marching in line, still a great view. And although there are usually weaker forces or weaker troops with lower melee stats and morale, I do quite like the Israelis. They are very good units to have, at least in the early game. And again, once we get the Nazim-e-Sadit, we'll definitely start replacing them, as well as the Beylik Janissaries. But I think we'll do the Beylik Janissaries first, because at least the Israelis have the bayonet and can do square formation, so we'll need to keep conscious of that. But we're moving our forces up slowly. We should be able to engage the Russian line imminently. And while we wait for our Israelis to get into range of the Russian line, I would love for you to, in the comments, leave which is your favourite faction in Empire Total War, the go-to faction that you always return to time and time again when you do come back to the game. I'll be very interested to see sort of which way people generally tend to lean. I assume it's a European faction, but yeah, leave your comments and I'll love to read them. So we're marching our troops forward, they're moving in slow formation. Just in the line, we'll use the spikes as a barrier just in case the enemy cavalry attempt to attack us from one of our flanks, although saying that at least from the right flank if they did, but we can see that they are currently positioned on our left flank, so we'll need to keep an eye on them. And again, with our forces being able to go into square formation, the cavalry shouldn't be much of a threat to us at this point. And again, with our units being quite new to the engagement, so we're hoping to get some additional experience points for them, and hopefully we should be able to take out some of the enemy cannons as well once our forces are in range. So our cannons continue to suppress, we'll have suppressing fire, and we can see one of the line units are moving in. That could be either line infantry or could be the Cossacks. The enemy cavalry is on the move, and yeah, we are looking to engage them at full force at this point. We'll maneuver our forces up, just get them further in to make sure the volleys count. The enemy cavalry is just moving at a slow pace now. Let's bring our Delhi horsemen in, and hopefully they can provide some additional covering fire from behind. Okay, we're going to split our army into two. Hopefully we can get some pot shots off into the enemy cavalry. Let's reposition our forces. They're in disarray. We might need to go into melee combat and just take out the enemy forces. As they stand, enemy cavalry have come in as well. We should have got our units into square formation. That's going to be horrendous, especially with them engaging in melee combat as well. Okay, that was a close shot against our Delhi horsemen, so we'll bring them in and see if we can take out the enemy. I think we're going to go into full melee charge against the Russian forces now and just try and take them out promptly. Okay, got some Russian forces have broken. Sending in our Delhi horsemen. We just got to be mindful of the... Oh, we've lost that. Unit just jumped right over the damn spike. So yeah, we did not keep an eye on that. Lost about 2 units so far in Delhi horsemen. And it looks like most of the Russian force has now broken, and we're just manoeuvring our troops now just around the battlefield. So we'll get our Delhi horsemen to run down the enemy, and that shouldn't take too much longer. Yeah, so that was a successful engagement. We probably lost more men than we should have done, especially not getting them into melee quick enough and having the enemy cavalry charge into our Israeli line. But Delhi horsemen are engaging with the enemy by fire and melee. So yeah, the Delhi horsemen are quite good in terms of their ability to shoot and run down enemy with sabres. But again, they're probably not the best unit. Once we have the Nazim Isadit mounted cavalry, that will be a better unit for us. So again, over 100 units lost in this engagement, about 10 due to friendly fire or other means like the cavalry and the spikes, and we lost about 103 directly due to the enemy. So overall, not a bad show. And again, at least with this enemy gone now, we've cleared this part of the theatre from any Russian forces, or at least any visible Russian forces. And I think this task force will slowly be moved down towards the Middle East, perhaps, and they will form the basis of what will become the Eastern Army, I think. That's the way I'm leaning to at the moment, but we'll see how this develops. So we've ended the turn. No apparent major issues at this point. We've got a new imam, so that will help with conversion, so that's great. And that's in Austria as well, so that's good. Got additional constructions going, so Jerusalem, we have a port and a barracks. Now last turn we signed a peace treaty with the Italian states, so I think this time we're going to attempt to try and blitz the Bavarians out and just take them off the map quickly. And we need to start repairing all the territories around, with the towns around the region of Austria, just try and prop up the forces or the income that we have from the city. So yeah, we'll move the task force down towards the Middle East, so they'll become the start of the Eastern Army that will launch the attack against the Persians in due course. Okay, we'll also maneuver some of our scholars around, just get them travelling to where they need to be. So that scholar will come out of Kozani and head towards Anatolia. So we're just manoeuvring our forces around, and then promptly we should be getting the most out of our scholars. However, in theory I should be looking at their capabilities, seeing if they pro technology or military or economic, to really get the best out of them. But that's something we can look at a future episode to make sure that we're getting the best out of our scholars. So we have ended the turn again, and appears to be no major issues. Bavaria has raided another village again, and we have a new imam in Bulgaria. So we continue to progress on that front in terms of converting the population. Yeah, we have that farmland and the Danube being raided, so we need to make a choice here and look to take out the Bavarians, and they've left their city unguarded. Okay, I think this is an opportune moment. Let's see if we can attempt to take them out. They refused again, so I think we need to just send the full army in, and we'll just auto-resolve this. So 147 men lost, still higher than I would like, but not too bad overall. Few units across the board, but no major experience gains for our current army, which is the Western Army. So we've got Bavaria, and that means Bavaria has now ceased to exist as an independent state, so the harassment of our regions should be now kept to a minimum. Okay, so that's good. I think what we need to look at doing is gifting the region to someone else. We're getting our repairs underway, so that's bonus. Let's gift the region. I think, as I said before, we'll likely give it to Hanover. They're allies of the British and they're trade partners of the Prussians, and they're currently enemies of the Italian state, so we'll gift that to them, but we won't ask them for any additional payments, I don't think. They could give us 1,000 maybe. Nope, they won't give us anything. So we'll just gift them the region and then just leave it at that. So it's one less territory that we need to administer, and reduces our border conflicts with the Württembergs and even Prussia itself. So we'll move that army towards Venice, I think, and we'll just start looking at developing where we can some of our economic buildings where possible. And we've got 4 turns until we have the European doctrine ready, so very soon we'll be able to start upgrading our armies with the Nazim-i Sadit. And again, we're moving our scholar into, so yeah, it would be good to start upgrading our forces just to meet those European line infantry, especially when we look to hit Morocco and Madrid, and then hold on to our territories that we've captured so far in Central Europe. So we'll continue to move the Eastern Army down towards Baghdad, and we'll look to replenish our forces in Baghdad. And there is a small Russian force gathering on the outskirts of Ukraine, but I think we'll leave them for now and we'll look to end the turn and let's see what transpires in the next turn. So the Polish are looking to break out and launch an attack against us. Okay, so what do they have currently in their fort? They have about 8 line infantry and 8 citizen firelock infantry. They have an Ulan and 2 cannons as well as a general unit. So we have both the Central Army and the Northern Army in play surrounding the city, and we are going to head straight in for the attack. Now, noting that with the Western Army in play, we do not have access to our organ guns. They are unable to reinforce us at this point, so this is going to be an all-out attack on the fort. We need to keep an eye on our right flank in this part of the map, as we have some enemy cannons just to our right, which will be attacking us in due course. You can see our reinforcement army is coming inbound. So this is units of the Central Army, so we just need to get them into position, and then we can continue the attack as much as possible. So we have our Mamluks. We'll get them to head to the right and eventually look to take out the enemy cannons. But for now, what am I thinking? Yeah, I think I'm just moving them, or keeping them in position, and then just moving the general as far away as possible from the enemy cannons as we can get. Let's line our Israelis up so we can start capturing the top of the fort. And we have our desert warriors on either side of the cannons just to keep a defensive line to protect those cannons should the enemy cavalry come in too close for comfort. Okay, we'll speed things up a bit. It's only downside with trying to monitor both sides of the map. We have some enemy units on the outskirts of the fort on this side as well, and I think the enemy cavalry have moved to engage our other flank, or the far side of the fort, so we need to just get back there as soon as possible. Just keep an eye on things, and we're sending our Delhi horsemen in quick, our Wallachian Bayars in quickly to see if we can get oh no, it is our Delhi horsemen. We're sending them in quick to see if we can take out the enemy cannons on this side of the map. There are some firelock infantry, I think, in the area, so we need to just keep an eye on them. They'll probably attempt to fire at our Delhi horsemen, but yeah, we're moving in. Come on guys, take them out, let's get you out there quickly. Okay, so that should disrupt the cannons for a short time, if nothing else. Getting our units out as swiftly as we can. Potentially lost a few men in that engagement, and we reorganize our Israeli line just to come up and meet the infantry heading towards us. So I believe the enemy cannons have been defeated at this point. Let's have a look and see what issues we have here. So it looks like an Israeli line has been caught out by the enemy cavalry, and we have some of our desert hillmen engaging the enemy cavalry as we speak. So they're not taking out most of the cavalry, but the cavalry could be in retreat. Okay, I think we need to reorganize that Israeli line just to pull them forward. We have moved our Mamluks to the far right flank and heading back to this side. Okay, we've got units being attacked. Why have our cavalry got stuck there? They're just being picked off. Come on guys, you need to move out the way. Move out the way. Got our Israeli line coming in. They should be able to make short work of these units from the enemy. Let's get them into play. Come on guys, move quickly. There's loads of units you need to take out. Okay, some exchanges of fire going on. Excellent. Continue to move our Wallachian Bayars out and our general. Okay, we've got some enemy line coming in. Let's just reposition our forces. Where are you guys going? I don't know what they're doing. Don't know where they're going. They need to go up there, and you guys need to come and you guys need to get onto the top of the fort, whatever you do. We've got some more Polish infantry, so that's line infantry in the forest. They've already engaged some of our Israelis. Come on guys, you guys need to get back. You guys need to get back. Charge in then. You're going to be fired upon anyway, so charge in. I don't know why we turned that Israelis into square formation right as the enemy were charging us, but we need to also protect our cannons, and we've got some enemy cavalry coming in. So our left flank on this side of the map, we have our units in square formation, and it looks like a large chunk of the enemy are routing. We've got our... who's that? Got some more units coming inbound. Okay, break square formation, attack them in melee, and we're moving another line infantry up. Okay, we got our cannons. I don't know what they're doing. They're not doing anything for now, so that's fine. We need to break this cavalry unit. Oh, we might not get there in time. We have the potential for friendly fire. Okay, you guys get back into square formation. Are you gonna fire cannons? Are you gonna fire? That is dangerous. Are you gonna take out any of our men? Come on, fire guys. What are the enemy cavalry doing? Gonna lucky Bayars. That's good. That's devastating volley. I think a few of our units have been hit by the volley. We've got our Wallachians engaged now with the enemy cavalry. Reform our Israeli line just to take out any of the oncoming citizenry that we have on this part of the map. Okay, looks like the enemy general is being killed, so that's bonus. So let's take our Delhi horsemen, let's bring them back this way, and we'll start moving our cannons again. The Wallachian Bayars are following the enemy line, but we'll just pull them back while we have these enemy forces in the vicinity. We probably should have kept our cannons going and harassing the enemy units as they were marching towards us. Okay, let's bring our Mamluks in. We need to take out these guys. They're putting a lot of pressure on this unit of line infantry. I think it's time to move those units forward. Okay, we'll move our desert warriors up as well, and we need to move up this unit of line infantry. Okay, we'll attempt to capture the fort by moving our forces in to position on the main rampart, and once we've cleared the enemy on the rear of the fort, we will also look to capture the rear of the fort, and therefore we can do a pincer movement and take out as many of the enemy infantry as we possibly can. We still have reinforcements that could come in as we lose units, but hopefully in this engagement we won't be losing any units anytime soon. But wow, it is difficult trying to manage forces on both fronts of the fort. And we continue to run down enemy units. Our Wallachians are being shot at. Come on guys, take them out. You can run down the rest of the enemy later. Okay, our cavalry units have started to take out the enemy, and I think we need to get them to take out those cannons. Charge guys, charge. Not our Wallachians, those are the Mamluks. Come on guys, can you guys get there before there's an attack? Oh man. They potentially got a few units killed. Yeah, look at that. Several cavalry. Head on charge. Never do that again. Like the charge of the Light Brigade. My gosh. That was a waste of units. Need to be more tactful in these engagements. And we can see that we've got some Israelis going in, we've got some line infantry, so they definitely going to benefit from a morale boost. We need to get our units up as soon as possible. They look like there are several line infantry still within the fort, so we definitely need to get our units there ASAP. Otherwise they're going to be decimated in melee combat with the with the Polish-Lithuanian forces. It appears that most of the enemy units are in retreat, those that were not in the fort to begin with. So I think it's the opportune moment to try and get our units up onto the fort. Now promptly, we need to try and attack the Polish Commonwealth from multiple fronts. And also be mindful that they could still launch an attack through the fort gates and attempt to hit our troops as they're climbing the wall. So we need to be mindful of that. But we are now moving all our forces up. We've got a new breach on the fort, so we'll be able to take them out. And that unit of Israelis, how are they doing? I think they had 117 men so far, 114. So they're going down at a steady pace. So we definitely need to get some reinforcing troops there ASAP. And again, apologies for the jaggedness of the movements of this camera. Still a work in progress, but this is very jaggedy. Oh my gosh. Okay, so we've got some line infantry climbing the walls on multiple fronts. We definitely need to get into the centre and start attacking where we can. Okay, we've got more breaches in the walls. Are you guys nearly up? Because we need to send you guys ASAP. Come on guys, you need to start running. This is becoming a serious situation. We've got 58 men left engaged with those line infantry. My god, they're being dwindled. It's unreal. Unreal how fast they're being dwindled down. 54. I'm sure they're only against a unit of Polish-Lithuanian line infantry. And as you can tell, this is probably one of the more intense battles I've had in recent weeks, trying to maneuver two separate contingents of forces onto a fort while trying to keep casualties as low as possible. It is some hard work, that's for sure, and this is only on normal difficulty, so I would dread to think what it would be like on very hard or even legendary difficulty. But I digress. So our Israeli line infantry is down to 38 units now, and I don't know if we have at least one additional line of support. They haven't engaged yet. Guys, you need to engage. What is going on? Come on. We've got some additional troops there. We'll get the Polish forces from behind as well. So that's at least 4 units or 2 additional units engaging, and we'll need to also start having suppressing fire from the fort ramparts just to halt any advance for additional Polish troops coming up the ramp. They're all currently converging on this bottom right section of the fort, but hopefully with our troops in play this should reduce casualties as we fire from the tops of the rampart. And our units are now fleeing, so we have 26 men left in that unit of Israelis. So hopefully they'll stay on the campaign map and won't disappear completely. But we're lining up our troops ready to start attacking from above. Where are you guys going? Okay, that's our unit, 26 units, they are fleeing. Can we pull them back? And we are able to pull them back just about, so they are bringing up some additional Polish forces are coming in, are inbound imminently. Guys, you need to run. You need to run and get out of there. There is exchange of fire. We've got additional Polish troops moving up the other ramp. But again, all our forces on this side of the fort are currently uncontested. Let's move them to capture the gate. Come on guys, move in, move in. Let's go. You've got to move promptly. And I think what we'll attempt to do is get our forces in line and then get them down on the campaign field, the lower section of the fort and just start putting that additional pressure on the Polish line. And the great thing is, once this fort is taken, we will control the city of Warsaw fully under our control, and it'll just be a case of managing the inevitable unrest that comes from our occupation. Come on guys, you need to attack. Okay, we'll send you guys down to the lower levels. The Prussians are still continuing to try and fight us. Up with the ramp, I see additional units look like they've broken. So what can we do to try and take them out? Let's see if we can get our units into play promptly so they can start attacking the fleeing forces. We do have our cavalry on the outskirts of the fort. So again, if any troops, Polish troops, should manage to make it over the walls, we should be able to run them down promptly. I think those Polish troops will probably escape, so we'll need to get our cavalry into position just in case. And there is a unit of cavalry at the base of that gate entrance, but it doesn't look like our forces are engaging with them yet in terms of firing upon them. But we'll move our forces up so we can just put that additional pressure on the Polish line. We've got some units in melee as well. See if we can do additional pressure from the fort ramparts. Our units are attempting to take out some of the Polish forces. And they're still not attacking. Must be a glitch. I don't know what's going on, but okay, we'll send our forces down to the bottom and let's see if they can do anything. I think that unit that's running half up the ramp and half down the ramp is not really achieving much. Okay, so we've got some Israelis here. We've got the Polish line moving forward, so hopefully our guys will get into position soon and be able to fire some volleys at them. Got our reinforcements coming inbound as well, so come on guys, fire! Yes, come on, take them out. So hopefully we're taking some of their units down, but we have 2 additional battalions being deployed imminently, so that should provide additional support. And it looks like most of the Polish troops have now been decimated, either broken and fleeing. I think it's just the 1 unit of line infantry now that needs to be destroyed, and then we will have captured the city. Come on guys, move in, see if you can get fire your shots off. Again, they're not doing anything with the cavalry, so can we even attack them? No, we cannot. So I wonder if they were like, there's some kind of glitch. They were either cavalry that left the battlefield and got stuck or something, but we are losing a lot of men in that unit. God, look at that line just taking out our men. Okay, we're going to send our men in to melee, and I'm wondering if the Polish have the fire by line technology already researched, because they were firing volley after volley so promptly, and we got loads of men dead near the center of the map. That is appalling. I should have hit them earlier with the melee attack. Okay, we've pretty much won the battle. That's a heroic victory, and we'll end it there. Just get it out the way. Oh my gosh. So what did we do? We've lost 554 men, so that's quite a large chunk, more so than I was expecting, and we've pretty much killed most of the defending force there. So some units have gained some good amount of experience, which is great, so that's always a bonus, but we have lost a few units on some of the battalions, and that 1 battalion of Israeli line literally losing 158 men. That is atrocious. A whole battalion gone just engaging with the Polish in melee combat. That is ridiculous. So we haven't actually captured the city just yet, and it looks like the Russians are coming in with an attack against Kiev. Oh my gosh, we only have one line unit of Israelis, armed populace, and then a firelock armed populace. Oh my gosh, I don't know if we can survive this. We should be able to, hopefully. We do get the morale bonus by being in the fort, but if they break our, oh my gosh, if they break our walls with 2 line infantry that they have, we might not be able to hold on to the city of Kiev. So we just need to keep this up. Oh my gosh, something we did not plan for at all. So we've moved straight into the next battle. We have not yet captured Warsaw. They do have at least one unit of firelock armed citizenry or line infantry that are still in play and holding the fort around Warsaw. So we'll need to address that in the next round once this battle has ended. But we've got the Russian line coming in promptly. We are relocating our general unit of Israelis just in case the walls do come down, so we're able to hit any cavalry or line infantry that the enemy might have. I don't think they have cavalry. They might have cavalry. We just need to keep an eye on that. And again, we have the Russian forces coming into the center of the map. They might attempt to capture the gate, which we cannot allow, so we'll just have to try and wear them down with the armed populace, and hopefully that will just keep them tired out and busy for a while yet, while our Israelis remain fresh and undeterred or unperturbed by the Russian line infantry. Oh my gosh, we expected this could happen, but we did not expect this to happen, and we did not plan for this whatsoever. Should have had at least 2 line infantry in the fort, but we'll see how this transpires. So our forces are engaging, and hopefully we can just wear out the Russian force. So we are losing units promptly. Our armed populace is dwindling, so is our firelock armed populace, and the cannons continue to pound the fort walls. I don't know, I am dubious on whether we'll be able to survive this or not. Okay, we're just getting our forces to focus in on the breach. Let's move the armed populace out, because at least they will be able to handle the cannons, should we still need the cannons. And the armed populace is just dwindling so quickly. 160 men down to 111. We've lost a gate. Gatehouse is lost, and the walls are now damaged down to 48%. So they will likely come down before this engagement is over. And I suppose the other question is, once this engagement is over, if we do survive the attack from these Russian line infantry, then we'll have to get our forces out into the open to try and take out the Russian cavalry and cannons. And we'll have to see how this goes, but it looks like the Russian line infantry are fleeing. So the Russian line are fleeing at this point. So I think we've managed to cripple the Russian line. I'm sure there were 2 Russian line infantry at the start of this battle. You can see one unit fleeing, and maybe the other unit has been taken out completely. Well, maybe not. It looks like there could be remnants of 2 Russian line there. But their cannons continue to pound against the walls. So we'll definitely need to try and take out the enemy cannons and the enemy cavalry. This is an interesting turn of events. We have no cavalry of our own in which to support our units, so no maneuverability. I think this wall will come down imminently. It's at 76% already. So we have to just hope and pray that the enemy cavalry do not come barging in, taking out our units. We'll move our line infantry out the way and make the full force be taken by our armed populace if need be. That wall's coming down imminently, 83%, so it's nearing enough coming down. We've just sped up the game slightly just to get this show on the road. Let's realign our troops in case the cavalry do come through. We'll be able to take some good pot shots at them. Okay, I think we will need to consider moving our forces out into the field imminently. Thank goodness there's no additional line infantry that could be attacking us once a breach has been made. I think if the Russians had any more troops, we would have been decimated at this point. Okay, we're just waiting now for the walls to fall. I think it's at 97%. Oh, so close. So close. We are returning fire and the walls are gone. The entire section of wall has just been decimated. There is a massive breach and we need to try and do something about this. So it looks like there's 2 lots of cannons and cavalry. So we're going to have to attempt to try and take these guys out. I don't think they're going to be looking to leave anytime soon from this engagement, so we need to figure something out because they are now targeting the second section of wall. This will definitely leave us open to attack by the enemy cavalry. So we need to definitely think about what we're going to do next. I think the first step is to probably remove our units off of the wall entirely and get our citizen units out into the field. Okay, so let's start getting our troops out there. The enemy cannons continue to harass our fort. They'll no doubt take the additional wall down imminently, and we need to get our troops out onto the field. So we've got some units in. We have our firelock armed citizenry in a building within the fort, and that wall will be coming down soon, so that will give them additional protection against cavalry should the cavalry attempt to get into the fort in that direction. But I do wonder that if we are able to take out the enemy cannons, the enemy cavalry will be a slight hindrance to us. So we can only hope and pray that Allah is on our side and we can take out these cannons before the cavalry can attack us. The enemy still seem reluctant to send their cavalry in, and I'm sure their cavalry would be able to take us out easily. And we are now being harassed on both sides by enemy cannon. I think we're just going to have to go for it. Let's just move in. Our guys are being hit by the cannons. We're moving into both sides. Come on guys, you can do it. Get in there. The cavalry won't know what to do. They haven't moved yet. Get in there. Take them out. Take them out. Come on guys. Brilliant. Okay, enemy cavalry are moving in and they're going to whittle us down. Oh my god, our guys have just been defeated so quickly. Enemy general is gone, but the cavalry units are just decimating our armed citizenry, and both of them are fleeing. Oh my god, they're both gone, so the enemy's going to get a field day of kills in that regard. So the only thing we have left really that can stand a chance against the enemy cavalry now is our Israelis, our regular line. So we march them out, and the enemy cavalry is just beyond the tree line. They are heading towards us promptly. We should be able to get some fires on. Come on guys, volley, volley, volley. Come on, get into square formation. Get into square, and that was a close victory. Wow, we managed to take out the cavalry at the last minute. That is so unreal. Oh my god, we lost quite a lot of men in that engagement. We lost more than the Russians, so that's predominantly the armed populace being decimated. We lost about 6 units for the Israelis, so that's a good show on that front. But yeah, we did not anticipate that happening whatsoever. That was completely unexpected. So the Russians are retreating into the further reaches of Ukraine, and we'll end this turn and see what else transpires. The Italian states are not declaring war on us, so that's a good sign. Okay, well, so we've got another imam being recruited. So that will bolster our conversion rates. So that is great news. And we can see that Morocco has been destroyed officially by the Spanish. We'll recruit additional units in Ukraine, and we'll just do a quick auto-resolve. So we lost 24 units, not a bad show at all. And we have now managed to capture Warsaw. That is brilliant news. We'll get rid of that school just to reduce any unrest. And I think we'll look to move the Northern Army back towards Ukraine, just to bolster the forces there. Wow, so we've captured the last city that we needed for our objectives within Central Europe. So as long as we can hold on to this region, we shouldn't have any problems in the future. I do expect several, well, -25, I do expect several rebellions in Warsaw over the coming turns. And we'll look to move some of our units out of Austria now that Bavaria has been decimated and the threat to Vienna has reduced somewhat. And we're not having any issues with civil unrest in Austria, so that's great. So yeah, we'll just move those forces towards Kiev. We've also noticed that there's no unit in Zagreb, so we'll just move a force there, and we'll continue to move our Eastern Army south into south of the Caucasus through Georgia into Armenia. And the Russian forces are harassing some of our towns, so we will definitely need to look to take them out in a future turn. But again, there's been no additional impact on this site. So all in all, I think it's been a successful episode, this one. We've managed to confirm our peace treaty with the Italian states. We've taken out the Kingdom of Bavaria. We've repelled an attack against Kiev and pushed back the Russian forces on the Don River, and we've managed to capture Warsaw for the glory of the Sultan. So we've had a successful episode this time round, and we continue to push our forces towards the frontier. We've got our forces replenishing, we're continuing to build our infrastructure, and we're making progress with our technological expertise. So all in all, we're making a tremendous stride forward for the Ottoman Empire, and very soon we'll be able to start introducing the new form Nazim-e-Sadit warriors that will replace all of the line infantry that we currently have. So all that we have left looking at this is 3 cities to target: Isfahan, Morocco, I think it's Tangiers, and Madrid, and then by extension we'll look to take Gibraltar as well, and potentially even some of the cities in North Africa, because no doubt the Spanish will try to conquer those cities of the Barbary states. So we'll need to look at taking them out. But for the time being, I think we can rest a little bit on our laurels. The borders are secure for now, and we are pushing back against the rest of the enemies that we've had to contend with. Just looking at some diplomacy, we will attempt to see if we can get peace treaty with the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth, and we have trade agreements with them as well, so that's a good start. So just reducing that pressure while we deal with any of the upcoming rebellions. And after the defeat of the Russians, will they be able to accept a peace treaty from us? And they do. Now, that was either a wise move or a bad move. It depends on whether they fully focus now on the attacks against Sweden. Hopefully that will keep the Swedes busy for a time being, but it seems that at least for this turn we are not at war with any major powers and only at war with Kurland. So we need to be mindful of that as well. They could still launch attacks against our cities going through Polish territory, but for now we're not actually at war with anyone. So we have a great opportunity for focusing on development of internal territories, building that economic wealth, replenish our forces, taking some of our armies and moving them to a more of an occupation role, while we look to expand in Isfahan, Morocco and Madrid. So those are our last key territories that we need. I think we will need to take out the Barbary states as stated earlier, but for now, yeah, I think we've made ideal progress, and we do expect some rioting to take place across Poland, but hopefully in due course we will be able to quash any resistance to our rule. As the Empire transitions some of its forces into occupation rather than expansion mode, We need to consider whether we still require so many troops within our stacks. Do we need to reduce the armies and recruit them at a later date once war breaks out again, or do we keep them at the expense of slower growth and development? Something to consider. That's it for today. If you found this helpful, please like and subscribe, as this really helps the channel to grow. Drop a comment about the Ottoman Empire's development or what you would have changed. Thanks for watching. I'm F. See you next time.